Hot Tub, everybody. Craig Elston, Chris Reed, Raphie Cantor, and special guests, me, my mom, and my Padres. Well, we've got me and my mom. My Padres, we'll just have to talk about them.
Exactly.
Maddie and Julie.
We got Tony Gwynn behind us.
There you go.
How are you?
Good.
We're honestly probably on cloud nine right now, guys. Not to
Look too much.
Yeah, not to blow too much smoke,
No.
but we've been huge fans for a really long time,
Yeah.
and we're just super privileged and honored to be on this podcast with you three.
For real.
Well, I mean, honestly, the honor is ours, but as I always say to open up silly games, tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Yeah.
I'll let Maddie start.
Sure.
Her name is first. She's the me.
Yeah, I'm in, a first-time caller. Wait, no, long-time listener, first-time caller. I mean, I've been a Padres fan pretty much since I was in her tummy, right? I mean, grew up with Qualcomm, and then when Petco opened, we had season tickets with our grandparents and our aunts.
Well, when Petco, she went to games at Petco when Petco opened, we were season ticket members at that time.
And so I have obviously like core memories from there. And then I went off to college. I feel like that's kind of when my real fandom came to light, because I went to school in Northern California, and I have, I have a will to fight, and it's either Giants, Dodgers, or Padres down there. And so I found my little Padres clan, and that's when I won't call it obsession quite yet. I mean, depends on who you're talking to.
I don't know. You started a podcast.
Yeah, but that's when the pedal hits the metal, and I was pretty much overcome with Padres media, everything like that. And then I moved back home. Thankfully, I graduated in 2019 when the Padres were, starting to
they're on the come up.
Exactly, see the up. And moved back home in 2019, and then we are actually season ticket holders right now, and it's our third year, and we're just living our Padres dream. I'd say, or at least me, I'm a hopeless romantic,
and an optimist.
I'm
kind of the doomer of the group a little bit. I try.
But it's all kinds.
Raised that way.
Yeah, but it tends to be a good balance. But her story is actually a lot more in depth, and she has a really good why I became a fan.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of reasons, but I'm a native San Diegan. I'm like a third generation native San Diegan. In fact, I think one of my grandparents was born here. So the brown and gold runs deep, and the orange and blue, and the brown and gold before that. So one of my first memories, period, but my first Padre memory was I was in kindergarten, and we went to the game where Ray Kroc made the announcement over the PA.
No way.
It was an embarrassment. And I remember this because the streaker ran past. This was like 1973, right? And that was a thing. It was like,
arrest this man.
That was Ray Kroc, right? And so that's Ray Kroc makes this announcement, and then the streaker, and I'm like, what? And everyone's making a big deal. And I'm like, oh, and I just remember my dad going, he shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, well, he's a streaker. And he goes, no, Ray Kroc shouldn't have said that. He goes, you don't do that to your own team. And so that's what I remember was my dad making that little aside about it.
Dad firing off a take right away.
Exactly. Absolutely. My dad wasn't that way, but that actually must have really hit a nerve with them. And then, I just grew up with it. Lots of heartbreak. I just remember when the Padres traded Ozzie Smith out of the blue. It seemed out of the blue. We didn't have social media. Maybe people were talking about it on the news, but I was 12 or whatever. And that was just the first heartbreak. And then high school, super into the Padres. My favorite player of all people was Dave Dravecky. It was kind of random. Still not sure why I picked up Dave Dravecky, but we'd go to spring training in Yuma, and I met him there. He was so nice. He and Tim Flannery were the nicest guys. My sister loved Tim Flannery. And they met us and walked around and introduced us to other players and stuff. I mean, I can't even imagine that would happen today.
Not anymore, you guys.
Yeah, but
not these days.
Really nice man. Fast forward, I kind of lost a little bit of attention when I was in college because I was in college and having fun, whatever. So when my now husband and I started dating, our first date was a Padre game. We went a lot back when you can take a 12-pack of beer and a little hibachi and make dinner on a Wednesday night and go to the game for like $20, and you're like, poor college students. Like, it was the best. Got really into them. Again, heartbreak with the fire sale in 93, I think. We had the 4 tops. We went to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And then that was Kevin Towers when he was getting his lightning in a bottle, or quality for quality, or whatever it was. We ended up getting Trevor Hoffman. But yeah, that was a big thing. So we went through all that, going to Qualcomm Stadium with 7,000 people, and we'd buy a $9 ticket and sit behind home plate. I mean, so there's some benefits to sucking, you know. I mean, that was fun.
The
Padres have used that exact marketing slogan.
I will say,
hey, it's baseball. Remember that?
Right.
It's also like, it's almost like generational trauma that she has passed down from her to me when it comes to being a Padres fan.
This is why I'm the doomer a little bit. I'm afraid.
It can't be helped. I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
I know these scars.
I think about this constantly because I live in Los Angeles now, but my wife and I want to have kids someday soon, and there are people that have asked me that are like, are you going to let them be a Dodgers fan, or are you going to raise them as a Padres fan? You know, all their friends are going to be Dodgers fans, and I've said to them, like, I'm afraid that if they are a Dodgers fan, they just won't understand me. You know what I mean? That there's like this thing that like there's this like core thing that like you're just not going to be able to connect with me, you know? So
yeah, you'll just be like a World War II veteran who came home.
You're like, if one of my kids is a Padres fan and one of my kids is a Dodgers, I'm not going to say I have favorites. But,
but Christmas is going to look pretty shiny for one of them.
And
your kid could just hate baseball, you know? I mean, it happens. Your kid
Craig, that's always your answer for everything, is hating baseball. I mean, it's convenient.
It's baseball.
I got 2 Burbank babies. You know, Seeger doesn't show much affinity for ball, but Rana does. And it's kind of terrifying because, like, what do I have to put against them? Like I have Nando at this point, guys. Like, look at him. He dances and he's strong and he looks good.
Yeah. You know, Merrill can get on that list pretty quickly too.
Merrill is on that list for sure. He just kind of looks a little bit like a little baby boy right now.
He is. He is a little baby boy. He's younger than my youngest child, which freaks me out. So Maddie's the middle. She's got 2 sisters. But yeah, I'm like, that like trips me out like crazy. Like, I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and she went to spring training. This is Kayla. Went to spring training for the first time, and she messaged me about it. And she's like, I remember going when we were in high school and getting a tan and oogling over the ball players. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. And we can't really do that now because they're like
children.
They're older. They're younger than our children. Like, it just seems a little icky. Although I do like Yu Darvish, but he's a man. You know, he's almost 40. So I don't feel as creepy about that.
All right, so we've got the Padres bona fides, lifelong fandom, and generational trauma being passed down, a true family tradition, unlike any other. Now, where did it lead to this communal grief sharing / joy sharing?
Yeah,
that is me, my mom, and my Padres.
Again, I don't want to be so much of a sap, but I will say, like, my mom and I have been hot tub listeners for, back when it was Make the Padres Great Again.
Yeah.
And so
she kept saying, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, what?
Well, it wasn't just that. It was the Discord that we have, right? There's so many people that are not the people on other media sites, if that makes sense. I don't want to like call any sort of conglomerate out.
Facebook.
But I feel like people in this Discord have
intelligence.
Sure, yeah, we'll say.
What I mean.
Yes,
intelligence.
They're using their brain. They're not just spewing out whatever comes to their mind. Exactly.
98% of us are using our brains.
Yes, everyone slips up every once in a while. We understand. We get that. And then a part of me too. I was a radio talent in college for a little bit. I always really enjoyed it, and my mom and I are just constantly
talking about the Padres.
Padres. It annoys our family.
That's all we talk about. It's kind of like,
and so we were pretty much just like, well, like, why not? Why not start a podcast, right? We don't see many female, besides Annie, but we don't see many.
Annie and Marty.
Yeah, we
Annie
don't
and
see
Marty,
many,
yeah,
women Padres platforms.
Right.
And so we kind of wanted to be, that, I guess, that one of the first ones.
Place for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time
awesome.
articulating. And it came from, honestly, our insecurities, because we've always been so tempted to, be more active in the Discord, or like jump on to when we talk, when you guys are talking. But we get nervous, and that's nothing on.
That's an us problem.
That's an us problem.
Yeah,
it's nothing on you guys.
Oh, no. You don't have to excuse the male space and male spaces being hard to enter and feel comfortable in.
Yeah,
you don't have to apologize for that at all.
Thing. A few times I've gotten to get on the stage and I've been like, no. And part of it is because it's all the heavy hitter guys, all the Caminati Snickers, and
don't name any names. Don't give them
It's
that.
gonna go straight to their head.
You know who I'm talking about, right? Those guys.
But yeah, so basically,
I'm gonna sit on this.
So we.
You're a hard hitter now, Caminati Snickers. Oh man,
I know.
Kevin McReynolds. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, boy, it's over now.
Look what you've done to Chris.
It's over now.
What you've done to us.
What's the guy that lives in Mexico? Fire Goose, right? Is that correct? Yeah.
Fire Goose is
Oh,
the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
he's a
Brought me
legend.
back there.
But yeah, so
We
we pretty much
accept,
just wanted to start a platform where we could, express and talk about what we're feeling and what we're wanting, because I don't know if you guys have listened, maybe Chris for a bit, but we're not the biggest statistic group. We obviously are looking at the stats. We're seeing who's doing well, who's doing not. But on our podcast, we're not doing a day-to-day. Okay,
we're the antithesis of pods above replacement, kind of.
Yeah, we can kind of say that. Yeah,
we're not super into stats, or we don't even know what a lot of them mean. I mean, honestly, and it's not. It just doesn't interest me, so I haven't really all these acronyms.
Do not sell yourself short. I heard you guys using war on your podcast, which is more than a lot of people who talk about the Padres can even say.
Okay. That's about where it ends. Okay.
Long story short, we wanted to create a platform where women Padres fans felt comfortable, or a little more comfortable, expressing their opinions and wanting to listen to two gals just talk about their boys.
This one thing too, I just wanted to mention one other safe space. There is a Facebook group called the Abbey. If there's other women listening to this, called the Abbey. They're on Facebook. They're wonderful women. Shout out to the Abbey. That's another place that people like us can go and feel real comfortable. Anyway, shout out to them. But other than that, that was, we had to we just felt like we would create something.
That's awesome.
Wasn't there for us. So.
And hey, the process of doing, right? Mm-hmm. Giving you guys a chance to connect, to work on something together.
Exactly.
And I get to see her.
Right.
She keeps wanting to do this remotely. I live in San Carlos and she lives in South Park. So I'm like, but if we didn't record together, I would never see you in the off season. I see her at games, but this way I get to see my child.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So it's a good time for us too.
That's me.
All right. So let's turn our thoughts forward here and go through a remarkably slow news week. It was I don't know if it's interesting. I don't think it's interesting. It's just something that occurred to me, which is that when you're in the making Padres content business, and whether it's the daily or the weekly, making Padres content business, in a weird way, like January and December when nothing was happening, it was easier to do because it would be like, well, what could we say about Fernando or Xander or Manny or any one of the big themes you wanted to take for the season. But now it's spring training. So those guys are off on a backfield, or they get their at bat. They're done. Okay, they're healthy. We're cool. All right. So what do we wind up talking about? Gavin Sheets and Terso Ornelas and Forrest Wall. And
what's his name? The 40-year-old. I don't know why.
Julie.
Yeah, you're going out. Like why? I don't understand.
Oh, Julie.
Right.
But it's like all the dudes that we won't care about 3 weeks from now. And it dominates our time. We hope.
You're right. Yeah. I think our last podcast we talked about those guys, and it's like, yawn. And it was more about like why. It was more about like, what are we missing? Trust AJ. Are these the next Solano and Peralta? Were we saying that last season? I don't remember, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, we did a whole podcast about Connor Joe and Jason Hayward, kind of, So, of course, in the off season, we had a lot of bad stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama and crap, but it did give us stuff to talk about.
As a couple
not
of
good stuff.
As a couple of chismosas, like the hypotheticals of the off season kind of kept us going. We didn't have any answers, but we had a lot of questions that we have potential answers to, if that makes any sense. So it was a lot of that during the off season, and it was a lot of disappointment in the MLB as an organization, right?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that when
I was hot on that for a couple of weeks, big time.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was talking to you, Chris, I mentioned like I can't even remember what it was. I think it maybe have been it was one of the signings with the Dodgers. It may have been the
Sneller Scott.
No, it was Scott. Maybe it was just one of these, or maybe it was even Kirby Yates. It was just like such excess.
Yeah, it could be.
It was like it wasn't because they needed it. It was because they could, and that just like it pissed me off. And I think one of the things I mentioned was I'm going to call for a boycott of all nationally televised games. Like that's all I can. Yeah, like
any national.
She goes big.
Throwing it down.
She goes big.
That's what they're going to show the freaking Dodgers and the Yankees or whatever. Don't tune in. I mean, that's what they want to see. They want to see big ratings, right? I don't know what else we could do.
I got you.
But now that
it's frustrating when you can see the Dodgers and whoever you want to pick. You can pick Kirby Yates. You can pick Michael Conforto. Like these guys that they're going to be dropping $30 million on in total. Like it's frustrating, but that's the game the Padres have to play because of the reality of everything.
Us and everyone else, or almost everybody else. I mean, really.
I had hoped that it would lead to more fun in this spring. I thought there would be a little bit more guys of competition. And then Craig put in our Discord this week that Yuli Gurriel's going to make the team.
Oh,
and
really?
It kind of broke my heart. It sent a shiver down my spine. How serious were you, Craig? How just kind of.
Oh, I still think it. I still think it's true.
Has he done anything this spring?
Oh, I can answer that question actually.
Yes.
He, of all Padres hitters in spring training, has the lowest OPS with a 522. So he's been superlative in some way.
Yeah, but Julie, let me tell you not about what he did this spring, but let me tell you about what he did this winter. He worked out with Manuel Arturo Machado. And two of them got along famously.
That makes sense then. Okay.
And that's why he's going to make the team.
Stars align.
He's another Nelson Cruz, but
bingo.
Right? Okay.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And Cano, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone down this road before.
Yeah. Yonder also, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll eat the 4 for 25 with 2 walks along the way, and then someone will get healthy or something will happen. And we'll DFA him and we'll be along the way.
Yep.
That was my fear a little bit, as we're looking more at this season. Looks more like Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter.
Here, let me give you a whole list. Allow me. Rudned Odor.
Yeah.
Adam Engel. Matthew Carpenter. David Dahl. And Nestor Cruz.
Dahl. What was that?
Dahl.
David
All those guys were on the 2023 team, and let's remember what happened in the 2023 team.
I just having flashbacks to the last third of the order that season 2 years ago, and it just kind of looking like that at this point. I'm afraid. I mean,
it is. Yeah, with Edwin Diaz hitting 9.
Elias Diaz.
Yes.
What did I say?
It'd be nice if we had Edwin.
Yeah, you said Edwin.
Yeah, let's have him hit 9.
Well, he can pitch the 9th at least. And hitting 9.
He can hit 9-1. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys feel like this is kind of, a pattern, right, of what AJ's kind of been doing these past couple off seasons? Kind of stacking the roster with these like old veterans, cheap veterans, right, and kind of just flipping a coin and seeing who lands and who doesn't. And thankfully in 2024 we had oh my gosh, Solano and Peralta. But
and Jerks and Profar. I mean, to be fair,
yeah, you're honestly. So I mean, how can I forget?
We were super happy to sign him anyway because I love Jerks and Profar, and I'm really sad. He was my favorite. Jerks and Profar and Hassan Kim were my 2 favorite players. Oh well,
I feel you. I just drafted him in one of our PHT fantasy leagues, so I
which one, Kim or
still
Profar?
hold in the B League. I just drafted him, so he'll be close to my heart.
No, there you go.
This
still
year.
root for him. Yes,
Profar. You drafted Profar or Kim?
I've drafted Profar.
Yeah,
not in the keeper league, in the B League.
I would for sure.
Don't worry about it, Chris.
I have my fantasy draft coming next week.
I want to talk so much fantasy.
Constantly
I'm
taking
just
notes.
gearing. It's been my life.
I can't wait to not do that actually and do something else. But nonetheless, this might be a good transition to Tirso Ornelas. Because if we want to do a mini version of spring training overreactions and real or BS stats, well, there's just no question objectively that Tirso Ornelas has been the best hitter for the Padres.
Isn't that what we wanted to, I wanted to see that coming out of spring. That's what I wanted to see. I would like him to be our starting left fielder.
Or DH.
Or DH.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to see Tirso Ornelas play left field. He would make Juan Soto,
He
like
was not
Ken
that
Griffey Jr.
slander.
That's
slander outrageous.
Is he really?
Is
he bad? I did not know.
He's looked okay.
He's fine. It is a vast overstatement, but however, I do think we need a designated hitter, and we need a designated hitter on the lefty split. And so if you put him in left field, you're still going to have to fill that hole some other way. So I figure why not play him at DH for the left-handed split, and then keep Hayward and Joe in left field. And then at least certainly when Jason Hayward's playing left field, like you're going to have one of the best defensive outfields in the National League.
That's very true.
I did not realize he was
I want to put like a tiniest little pin in. Like, have you looked at Jason Hayward's defensive metrics the last 3 years, Raphie? Like,
I'm assuming they're going down.
I don't want to make a meal of it, but they're going down. Like, he's very average. I want to give you guys 2 names to tie it into what we were just talking about. You ready? The first name is Brent Rooker. You might recall him as a guy who was in Padres camp at one point.
No, he was on our team. We traded him for Cam Gallagher at the trade deadline.
He didn't make the team at first. He was not on the opening day roster. A gentleman by the name of Matt Beatty was.
Matt Beatty.
Matt Beatty.
No, it's Beatty.
Oh, Matt Beatty. Okay, God. All right.
Beatty.
Matt Beatty was on the team, and Brent Rooker was not. He didn't get those at bats. They went to Matt Beatty, and then they got rid of Brent Rooker, who just signed a massive extension and is raking. So I don't want to say it's apples to literal or apples. It's the same damn thing.
Apples to manzanas in this case. Inside La Tienda Tirso.
Yes.
Okay, I'd just like to put a pin in your pronunciations, but
right now,
nonetheless.
When
what do you guys? Maddie and Julie, what do you think about?
When Melanson first joined the Padres, I accidentally pronounced it Melancion for
he was
the first couple of days until I saw a picture of him.
He's the whitest boy ever. Melancion.
But sorry, Craig. What were you going to say?
So, what are your thoughts on the opportunity, if it even exists, for Tirso Ornelas to make this team?
I mean, I'm in the same agreement with my mom. I think I would rather prefer seeing him get at least more spots. Yeah, at least start with that 25-man roster in the beginning, especially if he's performing the way that he has been. Right, we're doing our spring training over exaggerations, right? If he can continue in this pathway, I don't see why you would even, hesitate. Really, yeah, it should be a no-brainer for us. And that's when my mom and I we got so frustrated with these signings of these older players for really cheap, because in our minds, I feel like that's what you want to see as fans, is those people that we have been building up. And, especially when you've had the success that Merrill had last season, that's something that's going to get the fans excited, especially when it's been a slow and arguably, disappointing off season.
Yeah, that could be he could be a bright spot. I mean, could be, right? I'd rather see what he can do than Jason Hayward.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to give him a much longer rope than I'm going to give Joe or Hayward or anyone else that we signed. That's for sure.
Because those guys we only signed for $1 million each, right? Or like $1 million plus incentives, right? So if they don't perform, then their spot could be made available, I would think, right? So, yeah.
Well, I know AJ Cassavell put out a potential roster 3 weeks out today, and I think he had Raphie Gavin Sheets over Tirso.
He's another one.
He posted it as like so he posted the lineup, and in his lineup he put Gavin Sheets and then in parentheses or Tirso Ornelas, which to me gives him second billing, and I think that is unfair.
Honestly, he's just playing it safe as a reporter. He's like, I'm just going to do both names in case someone disagrees with me or someone plays better at the end.
Yeah, but I don't know. Hey, in showbiz, baby, billing is everything. And so, like, if I'm Tirso Ornelas' agent, I'm on the phone with AJ Castle being, what the fuck are you doing putting his second billing to Gavin Sheets? You're never going to work in this town fucking again. All right?
I forgot about Gavin Sheets. That's another one. Like, has he done anything this spring either?
I haven't forgotten about Gavin Sheets. What they're trying to accomplish, and like I'm okay with, is the market inefficiency, right? Like they are not paying veteran ball players in Major League Baseball anymore.
Yeah,
low risk.
Jose Quintana just got a max deal for $5 million today after putting up a 2.5 WAR season or whatever he did last year. So, like, I think AJ's trying to pursue the market inefficiency. I applaud it. I just hope that, like, guys aren't getting jobs for the $1 million contract and the veteran status. Like, I want to see the competition of spring, because that kind of youthful energy getting on the team opening day, I think that sets a tone.
Absolutely.
And, I hope our boy Tirso doesn't. I want to see the storefront.
I think that part of what Jackson Merrill brought last year too is just like you were saying. Here's a scrappy guy doing everything he possibly could to make that team, to make the best first impression. So you kind of need that kind of guy on your team too. That might even be more important with all the veterans we already have on the team. We might need that guy, that young guy that wants to prove it. That's going to be, to me, as a spectator and a fan, that's going to be more fun to watch, right? I think.
Can I offer the one thing in terms of so I put in the menu, like, can anyone actually justify rostering Gavin Sheets over Tirso Ornelas? And my brief answer is no. And I mean, one reason that I feel this way is, he hit a 114.2 mile per hour ball in spring training this year, which follows up a 114 mile per hour ball he hit in El Paso last year. And just to put that in context, if he had hit that ball in the big leagues, that would have been the 38th hardest hit baseball in Major League Baseball last season. That's sorry, Tirso? Yes, we're talking about Tirso.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's right in between, right above Teoscar Hernandez, right underneath Willie or Abreu on the Red Sox in terms of hard contact. So max exit velocity. Obviously, it's a small sample size. But when we look at things to look out for in spring training, we're not looking at, batted ball outcomes per se, but we are looking at the raw data underneath that I think is super valuable, because those are things that are actually going to carry over and can be replicated. He can't control where the ball goes, but he can control how hard he hits it on a consistent basis. Obviously, Tirso does not hit the ball in the air a lot. And that's his big complaint, is that his ground ball rate is a little bit too high, which might lead to an inability to put the ball over the fence when he comes up to the big leagues. And this is something I don't think we've talked about, Craig and Chris. We always talk about the 900 inning equation when it comes to starting pitchers.
Yeah.
But on the hitter side, I look at it as, where are you going to get 180 home runs? Because if you look at the kind of statistically over the last several seasons in baseball, 180 home runs tends to be about the halfway marker, where you have the top half of teams in terms of home runs are above that. bottom half below that, obviously that's a number that you want to be on top of. So when I look at the 2025 Padres, where are you getting those 180 home runs?
Oh, that's a fun game.
Yeah.
That is a fun game.
I mean,
Okay,
you're getting
can I-
70 from Nando and Manny right off.
Yeah.
I was going to
70
literally
are gone.
say that. Can we give 70 to those two guys?
Can we give,
I think so.
15 to Merrill?
Uh,
20 maybe? 20 Merrill?
20, let's say
25 to
20.
Merrill.
25?
I mean,
Okay,
he
yeah.
hit 25 last year, you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
can we give him 20 to be safe?
Yeah.
20. So that's 90.
yeah.
We're halfway there.
Yeah, okay,
That's
guys.
90.
Thank you.
Can
We're giving Bogarts 15
Can't we
Yeah,
can't
that
even
would
give
be
him
nice.
20?
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I
Yes,
mean,
go
has he
ahead.
done that as a Padre? His first
He got
year? Did he hit
19
20?
before.
Yeah, 19.
No,
What did he
that's
last
not-
2023, 19 homers, 19 steals.
No,
Unique
A
member of the
forever Padre with the
1919
number
club.
19.
I'm saying he's getting older. I'm saying 15 is Xander's number
Yeah.
for this year.
Okay,
I'd
So
say
we're
that.
being
good
conservative
good
on
you.
Bogarts and on Merrill. I think if we're saying 20 for
little.
Merrill
Yeah,
and
I'd
15
say-
So
for
you
Bogarts.
guys do Cronenworth, and I won't argue. How about that?
We didn't even mention Cronenworth. I mean, are we giving him what, 15, 10, 15?
Got to give him at least 15.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just I want to run the tally. So we have
Okay.
70 with Manny and Tatis. We have 20 with Merrill. We have
Mhm.
15 with Bogarts, and we have 15 with Cronenworth. That puts us at 120. So
Oh,
we need
gosh. So we
60
need
more
50
home runs.
60 more.
Luis
Oh my
Arias is good for 5.
Okay.
God. Maybe Rosario might hit a couple. I'd give
Yeah,
him maybe
125.
Okay.
Jason Hayward.
Okay, hang
Jason
on
Hayward will
now.
probably hit. You know, he's going to come in clutch, I'm sure, at least once. We'll give him 5.
Well, let's just go left field. Hey Joe, together. Let's
Hey,
just
Joe.
10
give,
home runs?
Yeah, 10 home runs. Yeah.
I would
like
say
that.
15 because
I would
Joe,
say 15. I would say
I think
15
Yeah.
is very possible.
Joe's
Okay.
numbers are better.
So with a rise and the left field platoon, we're now at 140. So we need 40
Okay,
home
guys.
Okay.
runs.
40
Diaz
away.
might
Look,
hit-
getting closer
Diaz
and
could
closer all the
hit
time.
40.
What?
Elias Diaz could hit 40?
He could hit 40.
What,
He hit
double
one in the
plays?
All-Star game.
I mean,
Double
yeah, if there's enough
plays
guys in
would
front
be
of him, he
alright.
could
I
hit
was
40
gonna
double
give
plays.
the
I
catching-
agree.
The catching group with, I'm assuming it's going to be Diaz and Campy.
Can't be, yeah.
Maybe
20.
20? No, I was going to be like
No.
10.
Could you
Like,
imagine
I
if it
would
was
take
20?
one.
That'd be pretty good.
That'd
Well, I'm
be
the
good.
optimist, you guys.
20 would
What are
be
we saying?
generous.
Hey, I
Well-
think we should use 20 because every
I think we're
freaking year the
low.
Padres have a backup catcher who rakes. And maybe that's Campy this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
We'll love to see that.
I'm vetoing. I'm sorry. Let's put
so
10.
if you what's your, what do
Help
you
us out,
think?
Raphie, then, yeah.
150. So we're at 150 now. So we need 30 home
Oh
runs.
my gosh, you guys.
Wait, how many
Now-
are you giving to the how many are you giving to the catchers? What did we
10.
decide?
We're giving 10 home
10,
runs to the
okay.
catching platoon.
Okay.
So those 30 home runs need to come from DH.
That's low.
That's all that's left.
Well,
Larissa
and,
Rice doesn't
and
really hit home
bench,
runs,
you
right?
have
We already put him in
Eggy's
for
3 or 4. Yeah.
Here's a-
Yeah, Eggy could slot in a few, but now
Yeah.
we are getting to our sheets. Oscar
Mhm.
Gonzalez,
Mhm.
Yuli Gurriel. This
Oh,
is not
Oscar
an
Gonzalez.
attractive
Here's the
basket
thing,
of
Raphie.
players.
You pointed out, and the whole thing, I see it in the Discord all the time. Terso's a 40 FV prospect. Well, that was the case when the guy wasn't hitting for power, when he was a contact bat, when he was winning the Mexican League batting title and hitting 3 home runs. Now that max EV, which is a metric we can trust in small sample sizes, which isn't typically the case, like that shows you something's there. It gives you like the possibility. And yeah, you don't want him being oh gosh, I always mix out the Diaz's. It's Yandy Diaz in Tampa Bay who always hits the ball on the ground and has the crazy exit velocities. You don't really want that entirely, but that's still a valuable hitter. And if the ball gets up in the air, like he's doing these days, just feel like it's worth giving the guy consistent at bats at the highest level just to see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know,
Yeah, I
as
mean,
a
especially
submission
if
to
he's having
Moonball
that
Media, that's going to be well received for, you know, valuing hard hit ground balls. You know,
We're gonna quote it.
yeah, get a few of those up. You're going to get aggregated on Moonball this week. I apologize. Please go ahead, Maddie.
Oh no, I was just pretty much just like backing up Chris. Like if he can make that adjustment, obviously if he's having that high exit velo, if he can just make that adjustment from the ground to the air, I mean, obviously that's what we all want, right?
Let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope. So I mean, that's just a wish and a prayer.
Because we're
at this
still not
point.
at 180, are we?
No, we're gonna have to juice some of our numbers. I'm afraid we're gonna have to turn up
Okay,
Jackson
guys.
Merrill.
All right, guys.
We'll make it happen.
We'll do
Yeah.
we'll do 38 with Tatis and
Let's
Manny.
just throw
Right,
it. Yeah.
right,
Come on. We're gonna
Yeah.
break records this year. You know, career
But, I
years
mean, that-
all around.
I think though that this is a fun exercise in terms of it shows you where we're gonna struggle to have the rubber hit the road.
That
For
was
the
a very good point,
2025
Raphie, that you brought
Padres.
up that amount. Like that was just an easy math. I mean, that's easy math right there. It's exactly what we have to do.
How many can you figure out how many home runs we hit last season real quick? Just
We hit 190 last year.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you know, we had a lot from Profar that we weren't expecting.
Mhm.
Also, worth remembering, Petco Park
Higashioka.
for like 3 months a
Higashioka,
year
yeah.
was
Yeah, it was like
a
a-
hitter's
An
paradise.
outlier for 2024. Yeah, for some odd reason. Mhm.
Yeah,
But I forget how many
So-
Campy hit, but I mean him and Higgy added up to almost 25, I think, or maybe they did.
Higgy was darn close to 20. I don't think he quite.
Yeah, I think he
there.
got 17, and
17,
then
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I don't remember
Sorry,
if
I'm
Campy
still
got
bringing it up
6
right now.
or 8 or
Campy
however
hit
many.
8 last year.
So
but
there you go.
You had 8 apiece also from Solano and Peralta.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you know that matters.
Are we
You
gonna
had
get
11
back
from
up?
Ha-Sung Kim. Those are gone.
Yeah.
You're right.
Hey, what if they used the spring training home run leader?
Is that Forrest Wall?
Oh
My
my
God.
gosh.
Forrest.
I'd never even heard of
Wall.
him until 2 weeks ago, honestly. Is he like a journeyman minor leaguer, or is he
Yeah.
somebody that came
He's
up
an
in a
ex-Rocky
like a quad
guy.
A?
He's a quad
Yeah.
A type guy? Okay. Journey
He's-
league. Okay. Another one of them. Okay.
He's one of them.
One of them.
He could hit a pinch hit homer that would look really good.
Yeah.
You know, could
Yeah.
take Camilo Doval deep, just like Graham Pauly did last year. Just, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
like-
Graham Pauly. Hey, you know what though? Like a year ago at this time, wasn't that Graham Pauly was like going to be our answer, right? For
yes.
God.
left field.
He
or
was
something?
the answer for a trade. I feel like we were all pretty gearing
And
to.
maybe
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Was he the minor league player of the year, or was Marcy the minor league player
Jacob
of the
Marcy
year?
was, and we traded his ass too. I mean, we traded
Yeah.
everybody.
Everybody.
Last year.
Terso
We got a
was the
couple guys
minor
left.
league player of the year, is all I'm pointing out. Like, he's the defense against the dark arts teacher.
He is. You need some power from somebody.
Yeah.
So if Raphie, to kind of go back to that question, if
Yeah.
the Padres do not believe that Tirso Ornelas can hit the ball in the air enough to be a power hitter at the major league level, that's why you roster Gavin Sheets, is to hope and pray that he gets a little bit more locked in, and that instead of 10 homers this year, he hits 15 homers this year. And those are 15 homers out of the 30 that we need. And now, of course, Yuli's going to hit 15 just in the month of May alone. So then we've got our 30 right there. But okay, here's another kid. SpongeBob SquarePants. Oscar Gonzalez.
What's his name? Bruce.
Yeah, Oscar Gonzalez has hit
Oscar Gonzalez. Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like, he's hit well. A Tirso, I don't think they're going to do it, but if they actually told me that there was a Tirso Oscar Gonzalez platoon, I wouldn't be like, that's the worst thing in the history of mankind.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Now, if it was the AAA platoon, it's probably a pretty good platoon in AAA too.
El Paso has a chance
What's that other
to
guy's
be
name? Bruce
quite good.
Broussard?
I agree.
What's the other guy's name? Broussard? I forgot his name.
Brasso.
Mike
Mike
Brasso.
Brasso.
Yeah.
Brasso,
Yeah.
who
What's
he's a gamer. Like, he's
a
done
big
some
game,
things. The intangibles on him are good. Like, he's made some good plays in the field, but he's going to help contribute to that El Paso squad's pursuit of excellence.
great.
I'd rather he make the team than Yuli, but I will actually say that about
100%.
every single
Yeah,
player
I
in
think
camp.
we're
So-
on the
Anybody make the team over Yuli? I would personally, and I don't see what he brings, but whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
Manny. Manny fits a buddy, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, vibes. The vibes were
Vibes.
strong.
We lost our vibes, guys.
Well, no, we re-signed Wade. He was.
Wade is a vibe guy.
We re-signed Wade,
Yeah.
Mom. Okay.
Yes.
Come
Yeah.
on.
True.
Yeah, speaking of guys who aren't hitting for anything,
we forgot the one home run that Tyler Wade is going to provide us. Hello.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
Like, why is Tyler Wade guaranteed a roster spot? Everyone?
Because
Because
Austin Hedges has a roster spot each year. That is why.
Yeah.
It is guaranteed facts that
nice
a good vibration and a good head of hair will get you a spot on the 25-man roster.
So it's framing, like the hair frames the
It's
face.
all
and
framing.
that counts
PR,
the same as
honestly.
Hedges?
Yes. Face, catching, whatever. Yes.
I was just
This
going
is
to say
my
phrasing, but okay, let's flip to the pitcher side. Where I'm going to say some. I kind of said this on the air today too, but so I'll say it here. But I think the fifth starters race is over, and I think it's a good thing. I think Matt Waldron's going to be that number 5 starter.
Oh, sure.
And I think people need to start. Not need to. Anyone can do whatever you want. But I would love it if people started to embrace the idea that the Matt Waldron that throws 2/3 knuckleballs and is convicted in his craft, you've already got the major league body. You've already got the arm that's built up to 150 plus innings. Then you add on top of that a pitch that if you just ask random ball players, God, I'm trying to remember what interview I listened to the other day of like a random ass ball player. And they said, just tell me about a pitch that's nasty. And they're like, Matt Waldron. Like,
Jazz Chisholm famously last year said it was
that,
impossible.
right? After he pitched against him, Like Matt Waldron, knuckleball was the nastiest thing I've ever seen at the plate.
Yeah, no one wants to see that pitch. And they're literally, they're afraid of it. They're afraid of the knuckleball. Now, they'd love to get a hanger and smash it over the fence.
And that happens sometimes.
But what Matt Waldron did wrong so many times last year was throw 15 knuckleballs out of 65 pitches.
Exactly,
rely on a sweeper and a 91 mile an hour fastball and, get knocked around a little bit and get confused and make the knuckleball a low priority pitch. Like, he's going to a different place. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about the idea that instead of being worried about him or thinking that Randy 12 hits in 4 innings Vasquez is going to, take him out of the rotation, to just go like, no, Waldron's a real starter and he's our 5. And now we've got a pretty kick butt rotation at AAA whenever somebody gets hurt. Cause somebody will get hurt.
Yesterday, I don't know, has he pitched anymore? I saw Pollock pitched well yesterday.
He has not given up a single run.
He's been pitching well.
Yeah.
So he would probably be your 6 at this point. Has Waldron said has he mentioned throwing more knuckleballs this season?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And
That's
he got
fun
up
to
to, I think it was, Raphie, I think he got up over 60% in his last outing. I think it was like 63%.
That's gorgeous.
As long as that velocity's up with the usage, then I'm all in.
Yeah,
right, and he's also like I don't want to go as far as saying like storyteller, fairy tale, but I mean, you love seeing a guy. You love seeing a guy, getting sent down the season prior and then having what we can hope is a breakout year this season. And if he is doing what you're saying, Craig, and he is throwing that knuckleball 65% of the time, he absolutely,
Well,
not only is it fun.
Waldron t-shirts. Have to break those out again.
There we go.
Those will never be spoken of again.
Still available at PadresHotTub.com/merch. I just spoke of them right now.
That's right.
Go order one now.
We should have
PadresHotTub.com/merch.
I just want to give a quick thing that Nick Pivetta, son of Kanata, will be pitching for the first time, I believe, this week. And thus, I am paying tribute to our beloved Nick Pivetta.
With your Canadian flag?
Of my Canadian flag.
Okay.
Our long time ally.
He made Canada sound Latino with the Canada.
I'm from San Diego.
Oh, yes. Now, Pivetta hasn't pitched yet. Has you pitched yet?
On backfields.
Backfields, yeah. He hasn't started. C started a game. Did all right, if I recall.
Yeah, he worked that 2-seamer, that sinking 2-seamer.
King hasn't started a game yet either, right?
No.
I don't think so. A customer
They're
at
doing
work
something,
asked me to-
Julie, they're being tricky. They want to be tricky. They want to limit the amount of tape available. And so most of their starters, they're going to do like half backfield, half Cactus League, and probably not get into Cactus League until they've already kind of worked on the stuff they want to work on over in the backfields. And then they'll come over to the Cactus League and do it or not do it.
Yeah.
But it's all about like silly games. And we play silly games every day on Annie and Elston, 12:45, chance to go to Vegas. But these are different silly games. This is just like, if you dared see use eighth pitch in the spring, you're going to have it all figured out when you see them in June, the next time these teams get together or whatever.
Right.
It's hilarious, but that's the level we're at
That's very AJ too,
Yeah.
Cagey like that.
When there's so much money at stake, this is the level of paranoia that they've reached.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's also worth remembering because it's been so long since we've had a normal spring training. We still have 3 weeks of spring training.
I know.
Padres play their final spring training game against the Mariners on March 24th, which feels like it should be illegal.
We were begging for a normal spring training, and now we're just like, oh God. Why they gotta play so many games in Arizona?
We're going in. When are we going?
On the 14th.
14th.
Awesome.
The 14th
nice.
I'm hoping by then maybe we'll see a few starters. But yeah, it's always fun. We like going because there's not a. I don't want to be mean, but there's not a ton of casual fans that go to these. They go to spring training.
Yeah.
They're with a bunch of psychos like us that are really into it and like to talk baseball and know what they're talking about, and so it's fun. But yeah, it's kind of better to go a little bit later for that very reason.
Yeah.
By the 14th,
yeah,
the starters will be rounding into shape and thoroughly bored of being there and getting ready to get the hell out of there. So, yeah, I think you should be locked in. I think that's a pretty good timing. Is the 14th?
So, and you know what's great about that weekend? If anyone else is thinking of going, we drive over Friday and drive back Sunday and go to work on Monday. So the Friday game is like at 6:40 or something like that, or 5:40. It's late, and then the Sunday game's early. So you don't have to leave at the crack of dawn on Friday. You can leave at 11 or noon or whatever, drive straight to the game, and then get home in time with plenty of rest to go to work on Monday. That wasn't the case last year for us. So it was kind of nasty, but yeah. So that's a really good weekend for a few reasons.
I miss getting out to Peoria. All right. Any other storylines, guys? Pitching way. Listen, there's some interesting young arms
what about
in the
Hart?
system.
What's that guy's name? Hart?
Kyle
Yeah,
Hart?
we haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen him yet, right? No.
He's competing ostensibly for that 5th spot with Matt Waldron.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of where our focus is at right now. And then once he's
working with Niebla at the lab, probably.
Exactly. Once these next 2-3 weeks start, I think we'll have a little better idea of what we're going to see in the 2025 Padres rotation. But more importantly, I think their bullpen too, right? I think the Padres bullpen is something that we've relied on for most of the season, or not necessarily relied on. I'd say maybe even just kind of been a happy surprise at some times because Niebla has been able to foster such commanding bullpens these past couple of years. It gets us as fans excited to see what he's going to do this season.
Suarez was terrible yesterday. What if that's his I don't want to get traded, so I'm just going to go up there and throw swamp. He's a 20 ERA right now. I think something like that. He is awful. I've hardly watched any spring training games. No, to be fair, this season.
You never should. It's the funhouse mirror of baseball.
It's silly, yeah. Like you said, it's silly. But I actually watched some of yesterday's game, and wow, I picked a doozy. Yeah.
Yes, you did actually.
That
was a tanker out there. Well, I like some of the arms. Bradley Rodriguez, 3 innings, and people are talking about him. That he's got sizzle on the fastball, that he's got a slider that's a ripper that people like. Ryan Ock is the guy people are talking about. A big lefty that seems to have good pitch. Marinaccio, the kid they got over from the White Sox, he's pitched well. The kid that started, I think it was Friday night, Braden Nett, is an arm that they like.
Yeah.
Eduardo Nunez is an arm that they like.
We still haven't seen our Rule 5 pitch at all.
I think he's going to be injured all year. I mean, he's going to be injured all year.
Pinky. Yes.
He's got a slight irritation that they need to
take a closer
look at.
Abductor. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess this is a hole in my knowledge because if he gets hurt in spring training and goes on the 60-day for itchy skin or whatever,
let's just say for 6 months,
hypothetically, but he would never have been on the 26-man. Do they still get to keep him?
Maybe
you could name him to the team and then put him on the injured list.
There you go. Yeah.
Put him on and move him off right away. Yeah.
Well, he has to pitch first, and I'm looking forward to that when that eventually happens because he throws hard.
I don't know that he has to pitch first. Maybe he can just go straight from the injured list to the injured list.
He got hurt warming up, Yeah.
There you go. Hey, you know what? We heard he feels a lot better. We're going to take a risk.
Yeah.
We're going to put him on the team. Hey, tough luck in warm-ups.
The
day before, the big day. That
hangnail really just got to him.
We got to be safe. This is a young man's career we're talking about.
Ruben Niebla's lab for him is just a bathtub where his kidney gets taken out.
No, Ruben Niebla's lab for him is the testing floor of Severance. If you're watching season 2, he's getting ready for Cold Harbor.
Yeah,
at some point.
Oh Lord! Oh God! Oh, funny.
I'm encouraged by Morahone. Like, he's going to have a big role this season, and I want to see that guy go out and dominate and live up to the promise that he's had, and I'm stoked. They clarified his role. They're not going to ask him to stretch himself out. They're just going to ask him to go out and get outs, and that's what he's done in spring training.
Is he slated to be not the setup man, right? That's going to be Estrada at this point?
He's middle relief on roster resources, closer depth chart. But I think really for a lot of the guys, it's going to be a matchup based.
Yeah.
Matchup.
Hey, when I think of Suarez backed up by Adam, Estrada, and Morahone, that's a killer foursome.
Out of the picture,
I mean, you almost could. You almost could.
Really.
I've kind of been counting on that. I mean, the trade talk is all kind of about him seems to have quieted down a lot.
I think everything's died down. I'm telling you, no one's ever going to say it until maybe a long time from now. But I really feel like Mr. John Seidler said, we're going to loosen up the purse strings. We're going to bring in Nick Pivetta. Don't worry about that luxury tax. Don't worry about trading out every dollar for every dollar you have.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna roll this thing, and we're gonna try and win as many games as we can. Now,
100% agree with you.
Now, AJ, if we're 3 games under 500 at the deadline, we're trading every one of these dudes,
right?
And we're getting everything back. We're gonna get everything back, but.
That's the Mets. That's what the Mets did.
My attitude changed dramatically just signing Pivetta. Like, I went from being so unenthused for this season, and just that one signing of a solid 5 or a 4 starter, like just that made all the difference in the world. And I think it was because just showing that this current ownership group is willing to go over that luxury tax. I mean, I don't think they're willing to spend a ton of money, obviously. But from what we had heard, it was just going to be cheap, and nothing.
No, we were told no circumstances.
No circumstances, exactly. And you're going to have to go with what you have and sink or swim. And that was that just changed my demeanor completely. So now I'm that made us decide to go to spring training because we were even thinking about not going this year. And then when that happened, we're like, okay, yeah, that's a sign. We're going to go. So,
ladies, what constitutes a successful season for you this year? What is your ambitions?
Oh my gosh, that's so tough. Playoffs, I think at this point, right? If we're going long term, I think we have I know we have a good enough team to make the playoffs.
It's a realistic goal.
Exactly. Yeah.
To make the playoffs.
I would like to see maybe some individuals kind of stand out more this year, right? I think, is this our first full season of Tatis? I think that's
No, I think he gets that last. Well, no, he doesn't because of the friggin' leg.
He missed 2 months.
It was supposed to be last year.
So that's something to look forward to, right? I think he's gonna have a lot of weight on his shoulders, but I think he is one of the many on the team that can, step up to the occasion. And then same thing with Manny. And then
a repeat year from Merrill would be exciting. Maybe Xander can finally figure something out. I don't know. That would be tremendous.
Long story short, guys, if they make the playoffs, I think we'll be satisfied as fan members. How are you guys on this 2025 season? What's your gauge?
I just want them to keep being smart, and that includes like opening day roster, not carrying dead weight that loses you a game or two, because on the margins in this National League in the expanded playoffs, those games are going to be friggin' important. So that's my only apprehension approaching the opening day, because I think the club at its bones is excellent. I can't wait to watch Manny. I think Manny looks so good in spring right now. And Fernando Tatis Jr. just had probably the best playoff from a Padres hitter since I was a teenager. So, those are fun things to build off of.
And you guys talked about this, I think I can't remember, I think Dallas was on. I mean, we have a really good freaking team. We got so blinded by the offseason and by signings of other teams in our division. And I think after you take a step back and you see what the roster is going to be like at the end of the day, we're still a contender.
We had to remind ourselves of that sometimes too. We're like just dooming and glooming, and I'm like, wait a minute. We've been so spoiled these last 4 years, that this is still one of the best Padre teams we've ever had. I mean, in the history of Padres, and we're still.
You know that, Julie. You've seen some real
all too well, and even compared to other teams too. I think MLB had us going into the season like ranked 7th or 6th or something like that for power rankings, something like that. So they're thinking more highly of us than we are of ourselves. So I think that's important too. We forget.
No, I totally agree. I agree. It's so hard for us to do the, hey, we still have Tatis podcast and like celebrate it for an hour. Hey, Manny still here. Yeah. Xander still a Padre.
Under a microscope too. Like we dissect everything, we debate everything, and your average fan absolutely does not. They're like, hey, look, you guys got superstars on your team. You must be freaking great. Yeah, and we're like, you've seen the Dodgers, But then again, the Dodgers are just, there's only a few teams that are better than us, really, on paper.
I agree.
So also, it's baseball. Yeah. And it's a stupid game, and anything can happen.
Look at last year.
No one should watch.
That was the way better slogan. That was so excellent. Baseball is stupid.
He's right there. I mean, there's another ship we can hop on. But no,
that was pretty. That game was pretty fun on Saturday. I'm all in the soccer now too.
but yeah, I think we're hopeful. Yeah, exactly. We're hopeful for the Padres. We have a good team, and the closer we get to the season start, the more exciting that we become. And I think that is how a lot of fans are too.
Let's go ahead and put Chris's pin in it right there. We can wrap it up. That's perfect. Tell everyone where they can find and listen to Me, My Mom, and My Padres.
Absolutely. So we're a very grassroots podcast.
Basic. We're very
basic. For a while, we were just on Spotify, but we just started on YouTube as well. So you can find us on YouTube and on Spotify, Me, My Mom, and My Padres. And yeah, we try to record once a week. Our schedules are really all over the place because we're both industry workers. So at least every other week. And then once the season gets into fruition and things are really rolling, you're going to hear from us and then see from us more often because we have transitioned into the Riverside application too.
Our first attempt at video. Everything's been audio. And this has kicked us in the ass to like take it to that next level. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that as well. So
great.
Yeah. So
that's sick.
Better for
Chris, Raphie, anything from you two?
I mean, it was just such a pleasure to talk to you guys. And I mean, I don't know if you played at St. Carlos Little League or Navajo at all, but
Navajo, baby. Navajo.
There you go. There you go. You're looking at a St. Carlos Little League alumni right here.
My husband was president for like 2 or 3 years. That was our lives. She was a very good softball player.
See you at Lake Murray.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Now, as soon as I saw you guys, we wanted to make sure that more people got eyes on you. You're doing good work, and
thank you. We really appreciate it.
This
honestly,
is such an unbelievable thrill for us. Like I said, when we started this podcast. If you go back and listen to our first episode, I think one of the things we said was this was like 3 years ago or whatever, as we said we can't just copy everything Hot Tub is saying. Like we're just like basically, I'm like, Craig just said that, like exactly like that, and we're like, we can't just mirror everything they're saying. That's like how influential it was. So yeah, it come full circle.
Yeah. So thank you guys for having us on here too. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. We're super glad to have you here and glad to have you on the show, and for everyone else to hear you. So please, everyone, check them out. Go find them. Me, My Mom, and My Padres. Go find them on YouTube. Go find them on Spotify. Give them the 5 stars. Hit subscribe. Do all those things. Do the things and take care of the business. And that is it for our business for this week, unless the Padres do something exciting and dramatic, in which case we'll have a live show later in the week. More likely, we'll talk to you next Monday. Who knows? Who knows? But probably not. Yeah. For Chris and Raphie, and for Maddie and Julie, I'm Craig. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching on the video and you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. Please hit subscribe if you haven't done that yet as well. And go Padres.